reprise de 3 minutes. Dans le coin rouge, short rouge, accompagné de son manager, Gregorio Benitez, le challenger, le portoricain Osvaldo OCASIO. Dans le coin bleu, portant un short noir, apparemment jaune, accompagné de son manager, Lou Tuva, le champion du monde donnant du titre, originaire de Atmore, Alabama, l'américain Evander Holyfield. Référé, arbitre de ce combat, le Britannique John Coyle. Juge, messieurs, Antonio Requena, Venezuela, Amadeo Continenza, Italie, Fernando Viso, Venezuela, superviseur pour l'IBF, Yamata Knight, pour la WBC, Hector Rodriguez. OCASIO, Evander Holyfield.
So the stage is set now as Holyfield prepares to defend 2/3 of the World Championship in this weight class. Official representatives on hand from both the International Boxing Federation, that is the lady right there, Hiawatha Knight, and the WBA, also with a representative on the scene. Referee John Coyle of Great Britain brings the two fighters together in the middle of the ring. If you've just joined us on Showtime Championship Boxing, in an earlier bout, Dwight Muhammad Qawi scored a 6th-round technical knockout over Leroy Murphy, which has given Qawi the right to meet the winner of this bout. And if it is Holyfield, it will be a revenge bout. Holyfield took the WBA title from Qawi last July. OCASIO comes out and tries to get off first.
Well, he's certainly fighting totally different right off the bat. I mean, he has trained 3 months. He's come in to lay it out in the first round. That's exactly what Holyfield would like. He would like an exchange.
Holyfield is not a defensive fighter. He will take some punishment, but watch for the ability to finish combinations and indeed sometimes the opponent with either hand.
In defense of OCASIO, if he needs one, the fight with Qawi was taken after a year layoff, and he really did look flabby and sloppy in that fight. He's had 3 months of hard training now with Gregorio Benitez, Wilfredo Benitez's father, and he certainly looks much sharper. I mean, even his body looks much sharper today.
Holyfield not yet able to land the combination. He's tried twice with the jab, setting up the right cross.
Benitez keeping up a running commentary, telling him to move, move, move. As soon as OCASIO gets still, Benitez starts hollering, move, move, move. The difficulty in watching Oswald OCASIO is that his punches, even when they land, don't have a great deal of steam or power to them.
Round 1 of a scheduled 15 rounds. Holyfield has gone 15 once in his career. OCASIO has done it 5 different times. Few here expect the bout to go that distance. Chopping right hand by Holyfield, and OCASIO leaned back on the rope to get a better look.
A little bit of the amateur in Holyfield, and I think he's getting already a little frustrated. It's only the first round. But already we have seen a great variety of ways to hold and grab and tie up a fighter. OCASIO's a master at doing that. Good tactic.
Just a little short with the right hand there was Holyfield, but he digs twice to the body and has got OCASIO standing still.
This is a 20-foot ring, not as advertised 22, but 20 feet, which is in Holyfield's favor. It's a lot less to run around. The ropes are rather loose, as you saw. OCASIO leaned back into him, and they bent a great deal backwards, which is in Holyfield's favor again.
Ocasio might like the 30-foot ring. You can probably hear the running commentary from Gregorio Benitez in the background as round one comes to a close. Evander Holyfield goes to listen to the wisdom of Lou Duva, who faces him, and George Benton, who whispers into his left ear.
Oddly enough, or not oddly enough, I think Ocasio did enough in that round to win because of his defensive skills, which were not purely running, but because of the way he tied him up, because of the way he made Holyfield reach, and get frustrated, and even club.
You sound like a Las Vegas judge, Bertie. Rewarding Ocasio for defense.
My baby. Those body punches, he's kneeling down now. Let me see you come up with those body punches, okay? Punch up, okay, baby?
And keep it moving, right? Don't listen to run into me, right? All right.
Second round. Just hustling, baby, just hustling. Get up.
You heard both voices there. Duva urging Holyfield to punch up. I presume that means he's recommending the uppercut as a stratagem.
Yes, because as Ocasio leans down, you just saw him lean down twice. He's wide open for an uppercut. And Holyfield has just got to begin to control him with a jab and start taking over the fight, the tempo.
Holyfield hooking to the body.
He's much stronger than Ocasio. Punch is stronger than Ocasio. He just doesn't have the experience to know how to get away from a grasping, grabbing fighter. There, that's a perfect example of that. Which, by the way, is a perfectly legitimate boxing tactic. You don't have to fight every minute of every round if you're smart enough to hit somebody and hold them and get away with it, as he just did again. That's what a youngster like Holy would feel, even though he's the champion, has to learn how to control.
Capacity crowd here in Saint-Tropez. They are not the noisiest crowd you've ever heard. The French tend to treat boxing as much a romantic art as a vicious blood sport.
Is it a vicious
They cringe a little bit during punishment.
Is it a vicious blood sport?
I never thought so.
Holyfield doing much better, stepping up the action. He had top rope, goes way back, just doesn't get the support that he thinks he's getting when he leans back. Because Ocasio, he leans too far back.
Holyfield beginning to connect inside for
Holyfield much faster hands, feet, and much sharper punches.
Starting to put punches together, which he wasn't able to do in round one. I think those twin hooks to the body early in the round got Ocasio's attention. And now Holyfield is able to bear in and pin Ocasio against the ropes from time to time.
He's coming in just as Benton trained him. Double, triple jab, and then the right cross, and then a hook behind the cross. He just did that last series of punches. He's just doing it again. The 2 or 3 jabs gets the other man on the defensive, not looking for the right hand. Comes the right hand, he thinks it's over with, and comes the left hook after that. So the perfect combination.
And you can certainly see why lovers of hard punching love Holyfield. He delivers each blow with a purpose.
And it's also why the Holyfield-Dwight Cowie fight was such an attractive fight and so hard to judge, and why it's going to be so good coming up.
Solid right hand against the ropes by Evander Holyfield. Ocasio slinging him away and then backing up again. As long as Ocasio backs straight up like this and leans against the ropes, Bertie, he's going to take a pounding.
Charlie Holyfield doesn't forgive him any moment. I mean, he makes a mistake, Holyfield's there to make him pay. He's an active fighter.
Much better second round. Much better second round for Evander Holyfield, who evens the score. We mentioned the vignettes we'll bring you throughout the evening to enhance our understanding and appreciation of the color and atmosphere of Saint-Tropez. Now, this is a scene from one of the beautiful beaches here in Saint-Tropez, and it should be pointed out that this is an everyday scene in Saint-Tropez, nothing unusual about it. And to these viewers, or to these eyes at least, the mundane act of walking out of the water tends to overpower any sexual content in that. What do you think, Ferdy?
Can I have a recording of that? I want to play that back when I get home and try to figure out what you just said. You mean that meant nothing to you?
Well, when you're here and on the beach at the time, it's not exactly the way you might think it would be. Now let's take a quick look at some of Holyfield's combination punching in round 2.
Let's look at that top rope. See how that leans back. He tries to get some support from it. He leans back, gets powdered some more by Holyfield. Holyfield had a wonderful round that time. Round 3 coming up. Holyfield feeling nice and perky. The bout evened up unofficially. First round to OCASIO, second to Holyfield.
I kind of stammered a little bit on that vignette. Did you think for a minute of maybe leaping in and helping me out there?
No, I wanted to see a first-rate talent like you sweat like everybody else does.
Well, at least we've left no stone unturned in trying to enhance the viewer's appreciation of Saint-Tropez. Isn't that right, Ferdy?
Yes. I've been collecting those beautiful views for 5 days, and I have enjoyed it almost as much as Holyfield is enjoying chasing
I thought you were
OCASIO.
talking to Leroy Murphy in the hotel lobby.
I was talking to Leroy's shirt, actually.
Round 3 of a scheduled 15. Bout began to turn in Holyfield's favor in round 2. Be interesting to see what Gregorio Benitez has left at the end of the evening in that voice, Ferdy, if he keeps up at this rate.
Well, I know him for many years, and I can tell you he can go into Christmas season without losing his voice. By the way, speaking of great fighters, his son, Wilfredo Benitez, was certainly a great fighter, maybe one of the youngest, if not the youngest man ever to win a title.
As for Holyfield, he won the WBA cruiserweight title in that 15-round split decision over Kawi on July 20 of last year. WBA, of course, calls the title the junior heavyweight title. The other 2 governing bodies, the IBF and the WBC, both refer to it as the cruiserweight title. On May 15, with his 3rd round TKO of Ricky Parkey in Las Vegas, Holyfield took over the IBF version of the championship. Up ahead, if he were able to defeat OCASIO tonight, a bout with Dwight Muhammad Kawi, a revenge battle for Kawi, and then potentially a bout with Carlos De Leon to attempt to unify the title in this weight class, and it is at that point that most suspect he will move up to the heavyweight division.
Well, he's certainly fighting like a heavyweight right now. He is controlling OCASIO. He has had a series of pitch battles here, which OCASIO's lost every one, and Holyfield has really been powdering him. It is beginning to look like the wear and tear on OCASIO is showing.
The one left hook about 15 seconds ago landed flush on the jaw of OCASIO, and he grimaced as he moved away. OCASIO continues to back straight up. Holyfield continues with the easy task of simply chasing him forward against the ropes. You saw the left-right, which he landed to end the round, and the 3rd round belonged to Evander Holyfield.
I think not only belonged to him, but he took a headlong race ahead, while he's only ahead by 1 point, 29-28. If you were looking at it qualitatively, he is 1 quantum leap ahead of their baby. They almost drowned OCASIO in the corner there. Gregorio Benitez very liberal with the water.
And a look back at action from round 3, Ferdy.
These are the little set battles that I'm telling you about. They set up. OCASIO missed, but Holyfield didn't. And those little battles went on all around the ring until he got hit with that big left hook.
Y cuando él viene loco para arriba, agárralo. No te me pegue ahí. Okay.
Gregorio insisting that OCASIO not get to the ropes, pointing out that they're loose and trying to stay away from the ropes. Don't get on the ropes. Easy to say, but when Holyfield's in front of you, pushing you against those ropes, there's nowhere else to go. That's what we talked about at the top of the show, cutting him off, dominating him with a jab. Everything we said at the beginning, Holyfield just showed in that last round, and it's beginning to pay off, and he's stepping up the gas.
Holyfield using the jab now more in round 4.
As Ocasio slows down, the jab is more effective in controlling him. As it's more effective, the right hand comes in better, and all of it to the detriment of Ozzy Ocasio.
Ocasio countered for a moment with a right. Holyfield digs back to the body.
Ocasio has had the unfortunate habit of punch, punch, and then grab. Holyfield, once he finds out that the punch is going to be followed by grab, moves away and starts punching himself. Of course, that results in more punishment on Ocasio. Back to the ropes for Ocasio just then.
You saw Holyfield there doing something he's tried to do, and there again, coming up the middle with the uppercut. Indeed, Ocasio holding his hands apart and making that available to him.
You can almost see Holyfield turning on the heat a little bit at a time each round. It just gets a little bit more intensive. The punches a little bit more meaningful. Again and again, his corner exhorting him, don't get on the ropes, don't get stuck on the ropes, punch and move.
We're in round 4 of a scheduled 15.
Beautiful double jab and a right hand by Holyfield.
Double title holder Evander Holyfield dominating Osvaldo Ocasio of Puerto Rico as he tries to retain his championship and point toward a second battle with Dwight Muhammad Qawi. Ocasio taking punishment against the ropes. Solid left to the head there by Holyfield.
Holyfield just moves him from one rope to the other. Traps him on one rope, goes to the other rope. Ocasio beginning to wear out.
Round 4 comes to a close. There has to be a limit to how many times Ocasio can lean on the ropes and take that kind of punishment. Now, between rounds, a chance to go to Dave Dials with one of the most famous tennis players in the sport.
Yannick Noah, 8th rated in the world, but tennis is not the alpha and the omega of your life, is it?
Well, not when you are in a place like Saint-Tropez, which is beautiful, and you can enjoy this kind of event. You know, it's a very, I'm having a good time here.
You're taking a couple of months off.
Yeah, take a break, little break, you know, just to enjoy myself for a while, and we'll play again around October.
Do you get burned out once in a while?
Oh yeah, I've been playing for about 20 years as a professional for 12 years now. I'm 27. So sometimes, since we're playing 11 months a year, more and more, some guys are getting tired. John McEnroe was tired for a while.
Could I make a wild guess that you've had fun all those years?
Oh, sure. It was a great time.
Yannick Noah, fine man, a great boxing fan. Gentlemen?
A long way from home, too, David. El vive en Nueva York, Ernie. Yannick Noah chose to live in New York a few years back rather than to remain in Paris because of the difficulty of being a public figure in his own hometown.
A difficulty which you've handled very well in Manhattan, I understand.
And you in Tampa and Miami, Ferdy, everyone knows about that.
Don't leave out Mobile, Alabama. I was very big there for him.
Round 5 of a scheduled 15 now, as Holyfield tries to press the attack once more. In case you joined us late here on Showtime Boxing, in an earlier bout, Dwight Muhammad Qawi scored a 6th round technical knockout over Leroy Murphy to put himself in line for a shot at the winner of this fight.
Ocasio is behind, obviously 39 to 36. He's been losing the second, third, and fourth, but I feel that the quality of the fight is much superior to what we saw with Dwight Qawi. I mean, I just didn't, with Qawi, he just looked like he had nothing. At least here, he's trying hard, he's fighting back, he's getting outclassed by Holyfield, but you sense a desire on his part to fight, whereas I didn't see that at all with Dwight, and that's what sort of infuriated me in a title fight, to have a guy just openly run. He's He's not doing that here. He's trying to fight. He's just getting outclassed.
Well, if he has a desire to fight, Freddie, you have to assume that he has some outside idea of winning. What strategy could he be employing here? Is he hoping that Holyfield will punch himself out?
He's hoping he'll get tired, he'll make a mistake. Unfortunately, when you have a fighter that can't punch, then your options are rather closed, because even if you're waiting for him to get tired, if you blow out all those first rounds, you're not going to knock him out, you're not going to outpoint him, so he is in a difficult position for a man who can't punch and who is slowly, inexorably falling farther and farther behind.
OCASIO has a record of 21 wins, 3 losses, and a draw, only 11 knockouts. And when a fighter at this level has knockouts in fewer than half of his bouts, then that is a fair indication that he can't punch, because obviously many of the early opponents in the career are of lesser stature.
That's exactly the point. All his knockouts came out early when he was fighting just opposition to get him training fights, and then when he got up into the real divisions, he got hammered by Holmes in 7, got knocked out by Stokes in 1.
Short right hand inside stunned OCASIO, who stopped movement for a moment, and Holyfield was able to press in and land a couple of more. OCASIO now flinching and merely trying to defend himself.
That rally at the end of that round showed Holyfield that he can hurt OCASIO, because for the first time he began to flinch and show in his face that the punches are hurting him. In Holyfield's corner, Lou Duva seems calmer than I've ever seen him in my life, so that he must be very, very aware.
It's a street scene from Saint-Tropez. Some of these artists, not as talented as yourself, Freddie, but...
Well, I prevailed on our producer to show art in view of the fact that the corner work of Duva is not exactly exhilarating. We thought we'd go to the art and show that some of my friends are hard at work painting pictures, some begging me for you to come over there so they could do caricatures of a Yankee announcer.
Yes, indeed. I went up to one of those artists last night who had a beautiful hand-done sketch of Paul Newman. And, of course, I posed for 30 minutes, and at the end he handed me a hand-done sketch of Paul Newman. It looked terrific.
Very wise on his part.
We are back now to boxing as round 6 of a scheduled 15 between Evander Holyfield in the black trunks and Osvaldo OCASIO in the red begins. Holyfield defending his WBA junior heavyweight IBF cruiserweight crown in the 190-pound weight class.
Very frisky on the part of Evander Holyfield. He's bouncing up and down now like if he was just having a wonderful time here.
This bouncing up and down does him little good, though, doesn't it, Freddie? He'd be better off to settle down on his feet.
It doesn't do him any good, but when you're feeling frisky and everything's going your way, you're a little coltish.
Well, what he did was allow OCASIO to land his first solid blow of the fight, a right hand.
And the crowd responded, because up to now it's just a one-way walk away.
Might have been a bad idea for OCASIO. Evander is back down on his feet now.
It was a bad idea. Obviously, if you're going to bounce around with a guy who can bounce around as good as OCASIO, that's his territory, not yours.
Holyfield pressing forward, starting to use the jab again now. Follows with the right.
Every round, OCASIO goes to the same spot on each corner and lays there and gets pummeled. Keeps that up, he's going to have to start paying rent on that top rope over there, directly across from him. I mean, he just keeps laying there and getting killed.
Come on, get up, get up! Now wait! Get that jab and get up!
One of the things that strikes you when you come to Saint-Tropez in the south of France is the orderliness of the crowd and the quiet of the crowd.
Holyfield measuring him. OCASIO tries to grin at him. It's a half-hearted effort. That's better when he punches back.
Oh, there's that uppercut. There's the uppercut that Benton wanted. There it is again.
Holyfield senses that he has OCASIO in trouble. Comes forward with the right hand. Ozzy's showing pretty good ability to take a punch.
He is, and he's showing more fighting spirit. He's fought better this round in spite of the fact that he's taken a good pace, and he's coming back. Not enough to win a round, but at least it was better than that one-way beating he was taking. I think a fighter should evince some reluctance to take a beating from time to time just to make his opponent feel that he's in a fight.
Interesting that although OCASIO is 8 years older, Holyfield is much more experienced in the ring. He had 174 amateur bouts. OCASIO had only a brief amateur career before turning professional. Round 6 comes to a close, pretty much the same as the previous 4 rounds. Here, Ferdy, another look.
The best thing you can see in all of these things is the uppercut that Holyfield lands, and all of them are unanimous in one way. It's all Holyfield doing something to OCASIO. OCASIO trying to hold on, have those punches, you know, from having it done to him.
You got me, brother?
Right.
Okay. Now listen. Now your jab will work for you. Now see, you're still swinging at the guy. Just take the jab and use that jab. When you do it, you see what happens, do you? You nail him every damn time. Now keep the jab going, Holyfield. You make an easy fight out of it.
Use that jab and move the combinations right after that jab. But keep using that jab. You got to snap it.
Get your hands off. Just get your hands off. Like
snap it. Come on. Let's go.
The voices of George Benton, trainer, Lou Duva, manager, a tap on the shoulder from cutman Ace Murata, coming back to action after being out for several months as the result of injuries suffered in an automobile accident. It's nice to see Ace back in the Duva corner. And now Holyfield comes out to do business in round 7.
Holyfield feels slightly frustrated, if not disappointed, in not looking that much better. Although, how much better can you look against a guy that is fighting to survive rather than to win?
Well, he's pitching a near shutout by our card. Maybe he lost the first round, as you said, but certainly he's won every one since then. Interesting that people speculate he may meet Tyson down the road. This is just the kind of frustration that Mike Tyson has had to learn how to deal with in bouts against opponents who fight defensively and simply won't allow him to knock them out.
I think Tyson's trouble is mainly of size and defense. When little guys try to be defensive like that, he eats them up. But when these huge, tall heavyweights like Pinklon Thomas and
Mitch Green.
Mitch Green was an awful fight in the Garden. Bone Crusher Smith, Quick Tillis, all of them just grabbed him and smothered him. Smothered him like an octopus, and he just couldn't
and as much as Kevin Rooney will yell punch out of the clinches, it's a lot easier said than done.
Well, at the end of this circus, we have it 59-54 at the end of 6 for Holyfield, giving, as my partner Jim Lampley said, only the first round to Oswald OCASIO. Although I do not hesitate to point out that I feel OCASIO is fighting a much better fight than he did against Kawi.
Yet he was given credit for victory in the Kawi bout, and here he is well behind.
Remember, this is quite unofficially. We're just sitting here idly looking at this. There are 3 judges, 2 from Venezuela, who might love defensive fighting, seeing it quite differently. I am sure that Lou Duva, Ace Murata would not like to see this go to a decision. Want to see that TKO or KO on Holyfield's record.
Ferdy, if he's winning this bout, the ghost of Sugar Ray Leonard is much more than an imaginary apparition. It is moving pens on paper at these judges' stands. 7th round of a scheduled 15 in Saint-Tropez on La Côte d'Azur.
Pieces of tape, little flick of tape coming off a Holyfield's glove, which will result ultimately in having to put some more tape on it, or else stopping the bout for Duva to do that.
The action has a sameness in and of itself, which may tend to frustrate Holyfield. Each round very much alike. Another 10-9 victory unofficially, and another vignette as we look at The Pacheco, as this one is called.
The SS Graf Spee. Too young to remember that.
Well, I'm not too young to have read about it in history books, Ferdy.
Went to Montevideo and sank.
The Graf Spee was indeed larger than that. But
A small bit. Well,
that was
not
a
after
big
the British
boat.
got through with it.
That was
The British chopped it down to size, and the captain said, "Oh, I think I'll stay in Montevideo."
There are even a few British tourists here in Saint-Tropez. They're unlikely to attack a boat of that quality, however.
No, it's basically here's a Wehrmacht. And I think the German army is camping on every street corner.
It's quite an imagination you have going for you there, Ferdy.
No, it was fueled by reality. I remember hearing what the Panzer sound like.
I think these conversations with Leroy Murphy in the lobby of the hotel have you delirious.
It's the heat.
1,000,000 degrees, as I described it, with 1,000% humidity. Right now we're down to about 990,000 degrees.
Now, I would like to just play devil's advocate for a moment. That last round, which you and I so glibly gave 10-9, there could have been, with the ghost of Sugar Ray Leonard hovering over the two Venezuelan judges, a dim, remote possibility that in some way, somehow, they saw that as a defensive masterpiece on the part of OCASIO, in that he didn't get pummeled as much as he did the other rounds and may have given it to him. You see what I'm saying?
That would bring my confusion with regard to boxing scoring to a newly elevated level, Ferdy.
That's true. One wonders,
but of course anything's possible.
One wonders, as we spoke earlier this morning, if scores were announced between rounds, as we tried to do in NBC for a year, if the boxers would fight any differently. Would OCASIO fight any differently if he knew that Lampley had him behind by such a huge score?
My guess, Ferdy, just as a layman with less exposure to the sport than an expert like yourself, is that it wouldn't make much difference. My personal belief is that 99% of the time a boxer gives you what he's got in the ring, and will do so regardless of whether he's ahead or behind. Often, they don't seem to hear what they are told in their corners.
That's exactly how it proved to be in our experimentation on NBC. When asked after the fight, the boxer always said, "I didn't hear him. I don't know what I was doing. All I did was I had to fight this guy in front of him." So you're exactly correct. The boxers apparently don't care. They just want to fight what's happening, and they want to take care of what's happening in front of them. In this case, it's Holyfield now beginning to step up the pursuit of Oswald OCASIO, who is beginning to get a little speed in his retreat.
Does that mean, Ferdy the Fight Doctor, that you favor progressive scoring announced at the end of each round and made public?
No, I don't. We did it every which way, and I want to tell you, it didn't add anything, it didn't take anything away, it didn't change anything, and I felt that I liked it the way it is right now. I'm maybe in a minority, but I like it the way it is right now.
You see anything different happening in this fight as opposed to what's gone down for the last 6 rounds prior to this?
No, it's the same Holyfield in the attack. OCASIO trying to skip and use his superior boxing defensive skills, but no offense to gain points.
You think any doubts will arise with regard to Holyfield if he's forced to settle for a decision and is unable to get OCASIO out of there?
No, I don't, because I think he's a young man facing a difficult opponent. After all, OCASIO's only been knocked out twice. Once, both by heavyweights, both by the champion, Larry Holmes, and by Michael Dokes.
Round 8 comes to a close. This entire weekend on Showtime, accented in French. And let's go to Dave Dials for more on that.
Well, few people have traveled further to see this fight and got in more cheaply. Howard Baer of Southfield, Michigan, one of the Showtime contest winners. Your feeling about Saint-Tropez?
I can't believe it. It's fantastic. Nicest place I've ever been to.
Okay, Howard Baer, you're here with your sister, Fran Broder of Southfield, Michigan, and Sandy Ortega of Key West, Florida. How did you win this contest?
Sent in a postcard, and they called me up and said I won.
Came all the way from Key West, Florida. Got time off your job at a restaurant?
Yes, wait to sing at Captain Bob's, yes.
Yeah. How good a time are you having?
A great time. It's been wonderful.
All right. Great to win by Showtime.
This is my girlfriend. She came with me.
All right. You're having a great time here. And thanks to Showtime, you're enjoying an exciting weekend. Now, back to the guys at ringside.
Exciting weekend for Dave Dials as well. And also thanks to Showtime, I guess we can say, Freddie.
I've always said Dave Dials is a natural for game show. I don't know what Vanna White is waiting for. It should be the Vanna White and Dave Dials show.
And in the background, you hear the pleasantries being exchanged at the end of that interview, which was indeed a beautiful thing. Well, it's been 3 years since Evander Holyfield graduated from amateur boxing along with his Olympic classmates of 1984, Mark Breland, Pernell Whitaker, Frank Tate, Meldrick Taylor, Henry Tillman, Tyrell Biggs, and several others. He was the first in the group to win a world championship, despite not having won a gold medal at Los Angeles, where he was disqualified after the semifinal bout with New Zealand's Kevin Barry for punching on the break. Most of you will remember, if you saw it, Barry going down from a punch that Holyfield threw just as the referee called for a break. He was awarded a bronze medal, and the Yugoslavian fighter who won the gold pulled Evander up onto the stand with him. Early in his professional career, he demonstrated tremendous potential, went on to fulfill it by winning that title against Kawi last summer. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, Ferdy, the speculation is that much better and indeed bigger in terms of weight class, things are on the horizon for Evander Holyfield.
As often happens when you see just a whole team of guys win the gold medal, the most unlikely one, I'm not saying that Holyfield is certainly not in talent unlikely, but the others got the publicity, they got the magazine covers, they got the big contracts. Holyfield just came out of nowhere. I think he is, if you look at him, in comparison with the rest of the group, he is far ahead of them. He's developed better than and faster than Breland, and better and faster than Pernell Whitaker and Meldrick Taylor, although those three youngsters are well on the way to being in the top ranks of boxing. Breland, of course, already being a champion. But they haven't had the sparkle, the hit, the charisma, the sizzle that Holyfield has. Of course, that has to do with the weight and has to do with the prospect of fighting Tyson down the road. I mean, what's in store for Breland? I mean, you can't name opponents that are wonderful for him to take on.
The Breland camp complains that they have been unable to lure Lloyd Honeyghan into a welterweight unification battle. Breland, of course, will face off against Marlon Starling in defense of his WBA World Welterweight Championship next weekend in Columbia, South Carolina. And if he can win that bout, then he will defend the title here on Showtime in the fall.
Come on, that's right, let's go, girl. That's right, come on, baby. Come on, baby, that's right, come on.
Benitez is saying to him, put your right hand in here, he'll fall, meaning Holyfield will fall. In the meantime, OCASIO looked over disbelieving agony, like saying, are you kidding?
Good left hand right there by Holyfield. He was able to bring it over the top. On the ropes, round 9 comes to an end. Very much the same as the preceding 7 rounds. In preparation for this bout, it's fitting amid all the talk of boats and yachts that we look back at Evander Holyfield's publicity stunt of training on the U.S. aircraft carrier Intrepid in the Hudson River next to Manhattan Island in New York City. Good place to train.
He actually trained on an aircraft carrier?
Well, he fought a round or two after stepping into that particular fighter plane right there and giving the taped thumbs up sign. So much part of the sport.
What it felt like to jet off a catapult off one of those carriers. You wouldn't even get on inside a jet plane.
The destroyer USS Holyfield.
With your jab. Just jab at his chest, that's all you got to do.
T-shirt to be sent to the Main Events Hall of Fame.
Come on.
All right, now let me see it.
Inside. Come on, rip him up on the inside.
We've gone through 9 rounds. How do you score it so far, Ferdy?
89-82. Holyfield ahead. OCASIO now looking more like the OCASIO of old in that he was running much faster, looking very tentative and almost apprehensive as Holyfield closes in with that heavy punching.
If you have not found spine-tingling excitement in this bout, let us say that there's something about Ozzy OCASIO which tends to eliminate, to a certain degree, the chance of that happening in a bout at this level.
It almost robs you of your senses because along about the middle of the fight, you have an overwhelming urge to close your eyes. But then you feel like you might miss something because young Mr. Holyfield is doing all he can. He's doing 100% to get rid of OCASIO and not have to wonder about the ghost of Sugar Ray Leonard.
Ocasio landed a pawing left.
That's not that jab. Stop it.
Closest thing he's mounted to an assault in recent rounds. Holyfield has not been as sharp for the past 2 rounds. Perhaps he is indeed beginning to tire.
Or get frustrated. I mean, it's very difficult to keep up that high speed when the other guy's just running, grabbing, pawing. In order to fight, you have to have 2 people. It's like playing a tennis game where guys just lobbing the ball back quietly. No matter what you do, he lobs it back. I mean, pretty soon you're getting, your interest wanes.
Should we replay some of the color shots of Saint-Tropez?
I'd like the one of Dave Dowles talking to his 2 relatives on the bench there, having a drink. I've never seen him so relaxed.
More relaxed than we've ever seen him. Como-esque, I'd call it.
Oh, good right hand, good left hook. Best punches of the fight.
Solid right hand. Evander trying to finish.
First genuine trouble that Ocasio's in, 2 punching punches by Holyfield.
Holyfield digs to the body. Ocasio holds. Here comes Evander again. We are in round 10 of a scheduled 15.
Ocasio flat-footed, has very little left in his legs. He's working on very dead legs. Duva yelling out, big round, baby, and so it was.
Round 10 comes to a close. Another round unofficially given to Holyfield on the 10-point must-scoring system. And we visit the corner of Osvaldo Ocasio.
Here comes the deluge of water. I'm wondering where they get all that water. Oh, almost between every round. Here are the 2 great punches that got Ocasio's attention, and it looked as if Holyfield was on the way to at least dropping Ocasio, but what a survivor is Ocasio. The referee says, wipe up some of that water or else corn is going to start to grow. I don't know about the 13th round. You know, actually, when you douse a fighter with that much water, you wonder what effect it is on this. He should be growing gills by now. He's getting up with a big ice pack on his back.
Ozzy doesn't look terribly excited about coming out for the 11th round, Ferdy.
Well, he's wondering how you say I resign in French, but apparently I don't want to make fun of Oswald Ocasio. He's been a brave warrior in his time. His time may not be right now, but he has fought well for many, many years and honorably. I think he's in way over his head with a young, strong man, and that's the nature of boxing. You build your career on fading fighters.
That had become increasingly inevitable during the last minute of round 10. We are now in the first minute of round 11. Ocasio takes the mandatory 8, looks to his corner and to Gregorio Benitez, tries to deliver a right hand, and now prepares to try to weather another storm.
He got hit a bruising uppercut as he got in. Of course, Holyfield zeroing in, knowing this could end right now. You get the feeling Ocasio certainly doesn't want any more.
Holyfield a little wild at first, now tries to go back to concentrating on the body.
Ocasio just getting pumped.
Then Luke. That's quite enough for British referee John Coyle, and by technical knockout in the 11th of the scheduled 15, Evander Holyfield retains his WBA junior heavyweight, IBF cruiserweight crowns, and sets up a second match with Dwight Muhammad Qawi.
And that's got to be a wonderful match. I mean, because Dwight has all that energy burning in him. And, of course, Holyfield is dying to come back and show much better than he did the first time against Dwight Qawi. I found this fight not quite what I expected from Holyfield, in that I thought he would do this much sooner. He was faced with an opponent who wasn't fighting but surviving, and so therefore it took a little bit longer than anticipated. But the end came. as we will see, with one punch, you see that top rope giving way, and that punch was so hard that the referee had to come in and stop. He did it again correctly. The referee comes in, stops the fight as he should have. No reason for more. No reason for more.
Good stoppage. It had become target practice at that point for Evander Holyfield.
And even you could see Ocasio in his face, looking to his corner as if saying, "You want me to do some more of this?" I mean, it isn't like, you know, looking for help. Would you throw in the towel? Give me some break here. And he went back to take some more punishment. Unfortunately for his people in his corner, Ocasio has said that no matter whether he wins or loses, he's going to keep on campaigning. Frankly, between us, I don't know what this guy is going to campaign with. He has no punch to hit anybody with, and he's just a track artist. Where is he going to go and seek fights of this caliber after these last two fights? I think he'd do well to consider an alternative career, maybe in broadcast television.
On Puerto Rican television
in Los Angeles.
He can be an expert boxing commentator. You could probably use him in LA. Dave Dial standing by now in the center of the ring. And as soon as the official announcement is concluded, we'll try to get up to David.
We gotta wait. We're on the television first.
Winner, vainqueur, Evander Holyfield par arrêt de l'arbitre à la 11e reprise. Champion du monde, les poids lourds légers, version WBA.
All right, David, take it away.
All right, we're with Evander Holyfield. Just as soon as the fight was over, you said something very profound to me. He's a crafty old dog, isn't he?
That's right. He had a lot of experience. He knew just what to do to get himself out of trouble, and really to really show my experience by the way, you know, he was able to handle me at time. But I was looking forward to a tough fight out of OCASIO. He's a former champion, and self-pride in the way he said that, you know, he was going after tighter and stuff. So I was glad I prepared myself to the full.
You're telling me, really, Evander, it was a learning experience for you. Maybe a fight that you needed to come up against a sly fighter like this. It'll make you a better fighter. That's what you're saying?
Well, most definitely. That's the reason I say I can't look into the future not taking OCASIO seriously. If I would have looked past him, he probably would have upset me. But I was looking forward to a tough fight. He was very crafty. So I was glad that, you know, we studied the film. He showed me more than what he showed me on the television against Huawei.
You know, sometimes I think it's quite possible that those of us in the media, we look at a guy like you, great Olympic fighter, and our other great Olympic fighters that we've seen so often, we expect so very much out of you so very quickly.
Well, I only had 15 fights, but I'm not making that as an excuse. That was my 16th fight, and I learned from it, and that's what benefited me more, because I did learn something for that fight.
Are we going to look at the knockdown? We're going to go back to Jim Lampley. Lou Duva, one word from you. Can I get one word from Lou Duva?
We'll fight anybody.
We'll fight anybody. That's 3 words, or 4, okay, if you count the contraction. Back to Jim and Freddie at ringside.